Hey folks, it's a new year. So let's talk about the trends in federal contracting that are affecting small businesses. Now, I'm a numbers person, so this isn't going to be about philosophy or opinion. I'm going to show you the data, and we'll see what the numbers tell us about the trends in government contracting. But I'm also going to show you what was said during the Biden campaign so we can look ahead to what might be on the horizon for federal procurement under the Biden administration. Sound good? Let's get to it. Now, each year, the government sets goals for contracts to be set aside for small businesses and for businesses in certain categories. Now, set aside means that only those kinds of companies can compete for those contracts. And each year, the SBA releases its procurement scorecard, which shows how well the government did in meeting its goals. So what I'm showing you here, I'm on the SBA website, and I'm showing you their 2019 procurement scorecard. And it shows you how much money is going to each of these categories each year. Now, I did the math on these numbers, and what we see is that the funding levels have been increasing by about 10% per year. Now, recently, the biggest percentage increases have come in HubZone and women-owned small businesses. These are HubZone and women-owned small businesses. These two set-aside categories have been somewhat ignored in the past, and they're getting increased attention now, which is why the percentage increases are growing there. But in dollar terms, the big things to note is the money going to small disadvantaged businesses. So small disadvantaged businesses received $35 billion in funding in 2015, and that's increased to $51 billion in 2019. Overall, for small businesses, they received $90 billion in 2015, increasing to $132 billion in 2019. So there have been big increases in dollars going to small businesses over the past few years. Now, what do we think a Biden administration might mean for this trend? There's a lot of information. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm just going to highlight some key things, and I've put links to the pages in the notes below so that you can check it out for yourself. Now, the Biden campaign website outlines a $400 billion plan to support small businesses in federal contracting. They propose to increase opportunities for small disadvantaged businesses by expanding the 8A program, by requiring prime contractors to increase subcontracting opportunities, and by incentivizing state and local governments to contract with small disadvantaged businesses. They also propose to increase opportunities for Native-owned businesses and support veteran entrepreneurship. Now, this website here has a bunch of proposals to increase contracting opportunities for small disadvantaged businesses. So if that's you, this is definitely something you want to have on your radar. And the one proposal I'm going to highlight here, the one proposal that really caught my attention, is a proposal to triple the federal goal for contracting with small disadvantaged businesses from 5% to a minimum of 15% of all federal procurement dollars. Triple. That's huge. Now, I know there are lots of variables that will impact whether or not this or any of these proposals come to fruition, but if it does, it would be nothing short of a game changer for business owners who qualify for 8A certification. Oh, and what does 8A mean? Well, 8A is the name of the government's program to support businesses that are owned and controlled by U.S. citizens who are economically and socially disadvantaged. So if you're a business owner eligible for 8A certification, federal contracting could be great for you in the coming years. So let's take a quick look at those certification requirements next. Now let me quickly show you how to find this information. I'm on the SBA website. I go to Federal Contracting 8A Program. Now, this website contains a lot of information, the program benefits. You can compete for set-aside and sole source contracts. It explains the qualifications and how to apply for certification. It tells you about the mentor-protege program, joint ventures, as well as the management and technical assistance program. So there's a lot of information here. But let's take a quick look at those qualifications. So you have to be a small business, at least 51% owned and controlled by U.S. citizens who are economically and socially disadvantaged. And they go on to explain what they mean by economically disadvantaged. Personal net worth, $750,000 or less. Average adjusted gross income for 3 years, $350,000 or less. And total assets of $6 million or less. So if you meet these qualifications, this is a great program for growing your business. Now, as long as I'm here, let me show you also that this website also has a lot of information on the other programs we've talked about. For example, here's the information on the HubZone program. Now, the next really important trend is that despite the rising amount of dollars going to small businesses, the actual number of small businesses receiving federal contracts is declining. So while we saw federal agencies are meeting their goal of spending 23% of contract dollars on small businesses, these data show that fewer small businesses are receiving government contracts. Now, what I'm showing you here, trying to show it side by side, is the 2019 Small Business Procurement Scorecard and the 2017 Small Business Procurement Scorecard. And I have to go to second page on this. These show the number of small businesses receiving federal contracts. So in 2016, which is the first year I have this data, 120,000 small businesses. To 2017, 117,000 small businesses. We come over here, 2018, 113,000 small business, and 2019, 102,000 small businesses. So we went from 120,000 small businesses in 2016 down to 102,000 small businesses in 2019. So why this decline in the number of small businesses receiving federal contracts? Well, federal agencies have been consolidating their contracts into fewer and larger procurements. And there are a whole bunch of buzzwords that you will hear a lot. Best in class, category management, contract bundling, contract consolidation, GWACs, which are government-wide acquisition contracts. But basically what you need to know is that individual procurements are becoming bigger as the government combines requirements that in the past were bid separately, and now they're being combined into a single larger procurement. So instead of having, say, 3 or 4 smaller projects, the government puts it all together into one contract. And there's also a push towards the use of large, government-wide contract vehicles to purchase common commodity products and services. Now, the government has been doing this with the goal of increasing efficiency and reducing cost, and this trend might be positive for mature small businesses, but it's creating real challenges for smaller firms and particularly for small businesses trying to get into federal contracting. So what's the solution? What does this mean for you? Well, this brings us to the third trend, which is the continuing rise of teaming arrangements, mentor-protege agreements, and joint ventures. Teaming is increasing for 2 main reasons. First, remember I showed you all of that money that's being set aside for small businesses. That's money that large businesses cannot access unless they team with the small business. So large businesses are teaming with small businesses for access to the set-aside dollars. And the second thing driving the rise in teaming is the trend of contract consolidation, resulting in larger contract sizes. So businesses are teaming to bid on these larger contracts. And many small businesses find that teaming is the most effective way to compete and thrive in the federal market. So how do you do this? Well, you start by building relationships both with large businesses and with other small businesses that can help you and team with you and keep you in mind as they search for opportunities. And this takes time. Successful teaming to go after a specific opportunity usually occurs very early in the process. In my experience, adding your name to the interested parties list is often too late in the process. You really need more time in order to build a relationship, develop an agreement, and put together a winning proposal by the time the proposal is due. So to succeed in this market, you start early building relationships. Now, let's go back to the latest small business procurement scorecard because I want to show you the data on subcontracting. Because for most small businesses, subcontracting is how they get their start in the federal marketplace. Now, overall, 1/3 of prime contract dollars were subcontracted to small businesses. However, when we look at the individual categories, only women-owned small businesses exceeded the subcontract target. They received 5.25% and the target was 5%. These other three categories did not achieve their targets: small disadvantaged business, service-disabled veteran-owned business, and hub-zone business. Now, why is that? Well, the scorecard doesn't provide any explanation on why these subcontracting goals aren't being met, but I think two possible reasons are the dwindling number of small business vendors, as we've seen, or the challenges that small businesses face in trying to build relationships with large prime contractors. The last really important trend you need to know about is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a major thrust of current acquisition initiatives, and it's going to be a cost of doing business in the federal market. Now, this is the SBA's website providing cybersecurity assistance for small businesses, and this is a DoD website, and I'll put links to these things in the notes below. But I want to tell you about a major new federal contracting development that you need to be aware of, and that is called CMMC. Now, CMMC stands for Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. So what are the key things you need to know? First, this is just now starting to affect contracts and will be rolled out over the next several years. Eventually, every DoD contractor, prime or subcontractor, must meet the applicable cybersecurity level, otherwise they will not be eligible for award. That means regardless of whether you have the grounds maintenance contract, you're handling freight, or you're working on military aircraft, this will apply to you. And it doesn't matter if you're a government prime contractor or a subcontractor, it will apply to you. It doesn't matter if you're selling products or services, this will apply to you. If you want to do work for the DoD, you're going to need to have some digital hygiene. Now, right now, CMMC is specific to Department of Defense contracts, but given the importance of cybersecurity, this might be the wave of the future. So what exactly is it? CMMC is a certification of a company's cybersecurity, and there are 5 levels of CMMC certification ranging from basic cyber hygiene practices in level 1 all the way up to the most sophisticated cybersecurity for the most sensitive projects, which they call level 5. So DoD will assign a CMMC level to every single procurement it issues, and compliance with that CMMC level is a mandatory element for contract eligibility. If the company doesn't meet the CMMC level assigned to the solicitation, it won't be eligible for that award. So let's say the Air Force wants to issue a contract for grounds maintenance services at one of its bases. In this case, level 1 might be appropriate, and as long as the company has level 1 certification, it will be eligible to bid on that contract. So companies who regularly compete for DoD contracts or who plan to do so in the future need to be aware of these new CMMC requirements. But also, this CMMC program, I think, will create opportunities for firms to differentiate themselves based on their cyber defense postures. So thanks for sticking with me. With government spending on the rise, there are new opportunities for contractors who supply goods and services, but as we've seen, government contracting also presents some unique challenges. So what have your experiences been? Has contract consolidation been a challenge for you? Is the new focus on cybersecurity an opportunity for your firm? I love hearing from you and hearing your experiences. Thanks for watching, and here's hoping for a better new year.